once again, polls are showing health care, number one issue, the number one issue in the presidential campaign. And that must have something to do with why Donald Trump suddenly wants to try to tell people he's the protector of people with pre-existing conditions.
That's right. Healthcare remains the number one issue, fueled by an issue with affordability. Premium prices are too high. Prescription drug prices are too high. And yet so many Americans, millions of Americans, are facing uncertainty tonight as a result of this lawsuit. The facts are clear, Lawrence, that since President Trump has been in office, millions of Americans have lost their healthcare coverage. Over 7 million adults and 425,000 children have lost their coverage since this administration began. And so to have a president speaking so callously about protecting coverage for people who rely on the Affordable Care Act for their care, these critical protections like pre-existing condition coverage, ensuring that their kids can remain on their parents' plan until age 26. These are things that families all across my Northern Illinois district and across our country are counting on.
And pre-existing conditions within the polling about health care. Protection for people with pre-existing conditions is one of the highest, if not the highest, positive polling accomplishment of Obamacare, of the Affordable Care Act. And that's why Donald Trump wants to pull that phrase. He only knows the words pre-existing. He doesn't even always say pre-existing conditions. He just says, we'll take care of pre-existing. He's clinging to that term because he knows how well it polls.
Well, it's an empty promise at this point. I mean, the record is very clear that the Republican-controlled Congress advanced legislation in 2017 to take away health care coverage from 23 million Americans. And if this lawsuit, the Texas versus U.S. lawsuit, is successful, 20 million people will lose their coverage. And so whatever phrase the president wants to use, whether it's pre-existing or pre-existing conditions or ACA or anything like that, we know that he lacks credibility on this issue. And I really just urge him to put Twitter down, put the phone down, and focus on protecting Americans and our health care coverage, because that is what everyone cares about.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.